Today's AskReddit post. What's something dumb you thought as a kid? Oh boy, this is gonna be a good one. Let's get started. I was just thinking about this today actually. I don't know what reminded me, but I'm even a little embarrassed today at how dumb I was. When I was like 7 or 8, I was on a competitive swim team. I was pretty bad at it. I got a lot of participation ribbons. I'll put it that way. One day I dove in the water and thought I should try swimming fast today. So I did, and when I poked my head out of the water, my coach was standing there looking at me like wide-eyed. She yelled, "That's a first. You got first place. I won the race." Or whatever you call winning at swimming. Anywho, I randomly remembered that years later and it hit me. Like, WTF was I doing before that? Did it just never occur to me to try to win? What did I think swim meets were for? Just for fun? And why did I never try this new trick of swimming fast again? God, I was so dumb. That drinking and driving meant any kind of drinking. I would get so nervous when my dad and I would get fast food that a cop would see him drinking his soda and arrest him. In the 80s, my dad almost got arrested for DUI. The cop didn't believe him when he said it was orange juice. Sister had a root beer in a bottle. Dad chose the wrong time to take a sip, lol. Late at night, 3 kids in the car, and a single dad taking a sip didn't really look good to the cop we passed. We got pulled over. Cop and dad had a laugh. Edit. Since a lot of people love adding race to this, I'm pretty sure my dad was given a pretty rough time from the cop. I only said they had a laugh to give it a happy ending. It was like 15 years ago, so I only reliably remember my dad asking for a sip of my sister's root beer and getting pulled over. These comments of "that's so white" are annoying AF. It's such a ducking high school thing to do. You don't see people commenting "that's so black" or Asian or Latino, or whatever minority you choose, because they'd be called racist. I could go on and on, but I already see someone saying some dumb BS to this. I hate racism and call it out when I see it. I was pulled over going to a party when I was 19. I've always kept a bit of a messy car, and the officer asked me what's in the bottles. I stuttered a bit and asked her what she was talking about. She meant the Geritas that I had in my cup holder. I showed her it was non-alcoholic. She gave me a warning about my brake light and sent me on my way. I got to my buddy's house and retrieved the covered box in my backseat that had the remnants of my liquor cabinet. And that's how I almost went to jail. An island was a giant piece of land floating in the ocean. Edit. Thank you for the awards. I used to want to see under islands. Edit. I mean, I still do. But I used to too. I thought my TV was too small to see adults in shows like Tom and Jerry and the Powerpuff Girls. Edit. Wow, thanks for the awards. And Charlie Brown. I don't know what is worse, the fact that I thought the TV was too small, or that I really tried to resize the screen to see if I could see the faces. How did you try to resize the screen? It had different settings, so I kept going through normal, full screen, widescreen and zoom one, hoping to see them. I had a friend tell me about her sister's birth. She said her butt was shaved, and for the longest time I thought babies were born with very hairy butts. I didn't realize her mom probably had to be shaved until I was older. I also thought parents had to have sex regularly during a pregnancy to keep the baby fertilized or it would die. I grew up Catholic. We did not speak of the sex. What? WDYM about her butt was shaved? I'm confused. OMG. So much confusion. In the old days, when birth became hospitalized and doctors took over the birthing process from mothers, they instituted some very uncomfortable procedures, like putting women on their backs with their legs in stirrups, shaving their pubic hair and giving them enemas routinely during labor. The friend probably said butt because she was taught that vagina was too shameful to speak of, you know, because shitting out a baby is preferable to admitting that women have vaginas. You women have vaginas? That's so gay. Fake. Women have vaginas. Gay. Women have vaginas. Being fired at work meant you were actually incinerated. Holy smokes, my dude. Only if you're fired from the church. If you're fired from a church, I don't think your smoke is holy anymore. I thought Barbara Bush was Eve from the Bible. The news said she was the first lady, and I didn't know what else that could mean. And she did look pretty old from my perspective. This triggered a memory for me. I thought my mom was the secretary to President George Bush. I remember hearing she was promoted to be a personal secretary to the head of her company whose name was George. My 5-year-old brain didn't really have a point of reference for the amount of people named George. There are literally dozens of them. At least 6. When I was a little kid and my parents were driving, I would see the car in front of us have these rear blinking lights, and generally speaking, they always lit up pointing in the direction our car would be turning. How did it always know? I didn't understand what they were for, so I thought they were there to give instructions on where to go to the car behind it, us. After all, how did my dad always know which road to get to McDonald's, Toys R Us, etc? Obviously he was following the instructions provided by the car in front of us. Hence, I'd always get concerned whenever my dad ignored the instructions the car in front of us was giving with its little blinking rear light. But I figured my dad was just taking a shortcut because he was my dad and dads know everything. Edit for people asking mentioning our car's dashboard blinkers. I had a simple explanation for that. I thought the car in front of us was also transmitting a signal to also show the arrows in case it was raining or snowing and it was difficult to see the car in front of us. That's a nice one. I wonder though what happens when you are the first car in the row. How does the driver know where to go? I personally thought that when you stop the car you also must perform some extra actions to manually turn on off the stop signals and warn the drivers behind you. I never thought the braking process itself and these lights were connected. Escalators would consume me if I didn't step off fast enough. Holy shit. I saw a video about some girl falling through it and it still scares me. My brother is quite a few years older than me and liked to tell me little fibs all the time. Some of the more memorable ones include him telling me that our uncle invented hamburgers, and that lemonade has a little bit of pig pee in it. Lemonade has a little bit of pig pee in it. LMAO. Genius. That reminds me of when my brother told me that the melted cheese on my toast was cow snot. I knew it came from cows somehow, so thought it was legit. My parents used to say they worked to make money, so I thought their job was actually printing money. Me too. In kindergarten I had to draw my dad at work. My picture showed him sitting at a desk with a pile of coins on top. Was your dad Scrooge McDuck? That I was the only one in the world with actual thoughts and feelings and everyone else was just part of my reality. That's called solipsism. Is anybody here feeling a bit solipsistic, or is it just me? I don't have feelings. You're the only one. I thought the world used to be black and white. It was. It changed right in the middle of The Wizard of Oz. It's on video. I used to think that Michael Jackson invented color on cameras. In one of his music videos it goes from black and white to color. I think you're just describing his skin. That all dogs are male and all cats are female. I thought this, and also that sharks were male and dolphins were female. I thought that cows were female and horses were male. But don't know if that was a common one. Nope. Definitely not common. I thought the term wind chill factor was windshield factor. Like the weatherman was letting you know if you needed to scrape your windshield in the morning. I thought that too. I mean, I'd heard the word windshield before. I used to think germaphobes were just people scared of Germans or Germany. I just looked it up. And apparently Germanophobia is one of the words for fear of Germans. Teutophobia is another option. And I have to say it's cooler. Sounds more like the fear of farts. When I was like 4 or 5, I used to think that when a toy commercial said batteries not included, it meant batteries not required. I'd often use it as a selling point to convince my mom to buy it for me. Mom, it even says batteries not included. Woman with light skin tone face palming. Face with tears of joy. That's so cute. That people would come in the night and cut off any appendages not covered by blankets. I conveniently convinced myself heads didn't count. because that would be too gross. Yep, while sleeping I kept my toes covered no matter what. Did it well into my 30s. To microwave something you had to put in a code that corresponded with the time. I was really confused when I found out you just entered the time. First, you technically weren't wrong. Second, why did you make your account? Extreme masochism. Adults knew what they were doing. Scary moment when you realize that you are more responsible, knowledgeable than the adult in any given situation. The first time I had to be the actual adult and take control of a situation because everyone else was panicking kinda changed me. I think a lot of people have been in that situation. I know I have. It's scary but not necessarily a bad thing. It really depends. In my case it was after someone had died in our store and the managers were all stoners with no ducking clue what to do. That when I turned 10, I would be able to see Pokemon in the world. My 10th birthday was a little disappointing. Imagine thinking that and then on your 10th birthday, Pokemon Go is released. Lucky little bastards. When we were kids, finding a Pikachu meant your best friend was on all fours screaming, "Pika Piper Kara," as you yelled commands at them and threw toy Pokeballs at their heads. You've got that kink too? I thought my penis had fallen off. I was about 4 years old when I saw my aunt changing my baby cousin's diaper, and I saw a bit too much of his baby junk for comfort. I guess she figured it didn't matter. I was just a toddler. As a little girl who had not yet learned about genitals, I was baffled. What on earth is IT? The only explanation my 4-year-old chimp brain could come up with to explain my baby cousin's penis, and my lack thereof, was that babies are just born with them, and mine must have fallen off somewhere along the way. I thought that eventually, baby cousins would fall off too, in the same way baby teeth fall out. I was around 4 or 5, and from my understanding humans were monkeys in the very beginning. I got into a huge argument with a classmate because I was convinced we developed as monkeys in our mother's womb and eventually grew into humans before being born. That is entirely unsettling. Not very far from the truth though. Embryologically, the development process for the first few days to weeks is over of the most conserved genetic processes across vertebrates. For the first little bit we are grossly indistinguishable from primates, or most other mammals for that matter. I didn't know turn signals were manual. I thought the car just knew where we were going. I like this one. It's a cause and effect issue. I remember wondering if the tree branches moved to create the wind, or did the wind move the tree branches? After 9/11 I thought we were going to have to invite Al Qaeda over to America for the fight, and they were going to invite us over there to fight, and all the civilians would have to hide in basements while the fighting went on. True if you live in the Middle East, apart from the invite bit. That I was gonna be happy when I grew up. Hey, I hope you find happiness in whatever way it comes. Thank you kind stranger, likewise if you haven't already. Thanks. I thought foie gras was the fake grass they put in Easter baskets. I thought this even when I went into high school. I thought people hated it because it was a messy and useless waste. Like, I honestly just thought vegans were assholes who hated Easter. Faux grass. It makes sense. Yo, that reminds me, I knew the word faux, but I had never seen someone read it. So anytime I saw the word faux in a book, I thought it was pronounced like fox. I thought that till like 7th grade or 8th grade. That shut up was a bad word. My mom made it seem like calling somebody stupid was the worst insult in the world. LOL. Me to other child. You're stupid mum. That's a very bad word. Me to same child. Your mother ducking cunt you idiot. I hate you shit-headed douchebag. Mum. Slightly better. Just kissing a boy or sleeping together in the bed will result in me giving birth in the next month. Babies come when the parents kiss. Erasers. Made of rubber. Rubber comes from trees. Roots equals rubber. Pencil lead graphite. Can be converted to diamonds. Under intense heat and pressure. Because of this I assumed you would never find diamonds in the dirt near trees because the roots rubber would have erased them. Our kids are fucking stupid. That's pretty advanced nonsense. Good enough to be president of the United States. I thought actors performed the movie every time I put in the VHS tape. Me too. I remember how I tried to watch movies at night because I knew the actors were Americans and about the time zones. LOL. So what you are trying to say is that you understood time zones but not recordings? Damn, that is weird as hell. I thought the condoms were something you inserted into the penis hole. Ooh. My aunt got a condom plant gag gift at her birthday party when I was like 9. And it had fake condoms on stalks. I thought the stalks were part of it. So in other words, the rolled up condom part with a stalk, and you just stuck the stalk into the urethra with the rolled up flat part on the end. Boy am I glad this isn't how it works. My dad convinced me that before Kodak invented color drops for your eyes, the world was all black and white and that's why old films are in black and white. Edit. I forgot the best part. Shortly after learning this, a classmate at school asked the same question I asked my dad. Why there's black and white films photos? So I answered with my new knowledge and the teacher laughed so hard. I went home after school and waited on the couch for my dad to get home. The moment he walked in the door I screamed I hate you dad, and ran to my bedroom. Bet he feels stupid now that they have glasses that do that and he wasn't even the one to invent it. I thought salt and pepper cancelled each other out. That is, if you oversalted something, adding pepper would return it to normal. I hope you didn't learn that the hard way. Worst bite ever. I put a little bit of cinnamon on my 2-year-old nephew's ice cream recently. We got talking and weren't paying attention when he decided to dump a boatload more on his ice cream and cinnamon challenge himself. I think he learned something that day. That my mom's name was actually Mom. My youngest was like 3 and we realized she thought that I was only mom to her and I'm not entirely sure why she thought my son lived with us too. But finding out I was also mom to her brother was really traumatic. It's like we were taking something away from her. She was losing her mommy if he called me mommy too. He called me mom and I guess that wasn't the same thing. LOL. I'm honestly curious about this kind of territorial thinking. My own brother will say my mom even if he's talking to me, and my aunts and uncles do the same thing about their parents. I feel like it's a code switching thing. You're more likely to be talking to someone who isn't your sibling, so getting used to saying my mum rather than mum makes sense. Mind you, I know some people who say mum even when talking to strangers. That always irritates me. Cats ate lasagna. Garfield? No. Unrelated. That ships were precariously balanced so that when they hit it with a bottle of champagne, that's what would send it backing into the water. That makes perfect sense. In cartoons the ship floats off when they hit it. My dad told me shrimp were intelligent, didn't die when they were cooked, and still had their brains and nervous systems when they were served. I still cannot eat shrimp to this day. Holy shit on a shovel. You were basically living the Poplars episode of Futurama. That's horrifying. Yo dad is either seriously ducked up in the head, or he's a major Futurama superfan, or both. Pop a poplar in her mouth when you come to Fishy Joe's. For a few seconds after you spit you can taste what it lands on. Our shit is superpowers. Our spit is superpowers. That Feliz Navidad was a Hanukkah song. I thought a salad bar was like a candy bar. Like all of the ingredients of a salad smashed into a bar that you held in your hand and ate. I want this to be a thing. Head to a Vietnamese restaurant. They're delicious. I thought it was called global warming and not warming. Similar but dumb. I think global warming is more accurate. Too bad it's being treated as a global suggestion. I thought that the whole earth was my country and somewhere in space there was Germany, Great Britain, USA, Canada, etc. I was 5 okay? Asterisk. Edit. Just remembered another one. I thought that the kiss that a couple shared on their wedding was how a baby was made. Which country planet did you live on? Greece. Odysseus was the first cosmonaut. I was very unsure that anyone else had consciousness. It seemed more likely that everything I experienced only existed in my imagination. Solipsism. Not dumb. Bro, you actually watched the whole video. I'd give you a high five if I was a human. Make sure to click the like button and subscribe for more great content. See you next time.